Imagine this. You're sound asleep. Everything seems normal. Your insulin monitor is silent. Your glucose tracking system shows nothing alarming. But suddenly, your dog jumps on your chest. It's not a bad dream. It's your service dog, and he knows something you don't. This isn't a movie. This is a real-life story. And this moment, it was the difference between waking up and not waking up at all. Meet Thomas and Sterling. Thomas Griffen, a 60-year-old retired educator from Fairfield, Connecticut, has faced more than his share of battles. He lives with multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, and not long after being paired with his service dog, was diagnosed with early-stage lung cancer. He's a fighter, but even fighters need backup. And this is Sterling, a golden-coated guardian trained by ECAD, Educated Canines Assisting with Disabilities. Sterling isn't just a helper, he's a lifeline. With over 80 commands under his collar, he helps Thomas with balance issues from MS, fetches vital items, opens the fridge, and, most importantly, monitors his blood sugar by reacting to Thomas's insulin pump. But one night, it wasn't the machine that saved Thomas's life. It was Sterling. The campground incident. When seconds mattered. It happened at Lone Oak campsites in East Canaan, Connecticut. Thomas and Sterling were on one of their peaceful trips, something Thomas cherished: the quiet of nature, the bond of man and dog, a break from the medical chaos of daily life. But just past midnight, while the campground slept, something shifted. Sterling woke up. Something in the air, the chemistry, the scent. Something wasn't right. Without hesitation, Sterling leapt onto Thomas's chest, jolting him awake. No alarms had gone off, no beeping, no buzzing. The insulin pump was completely silent. Confused, Thomas sat up. And that's when Sterling began his mission. The nose that knew what the machine missed. Sterling raced to grab Thomas's blood testing kit, something he had done dozens of times before. But this time, it was different. Next, Sterling tugged open the fridge door, just like he'd been trained, and brought back a bottle of orange juice. Well, he wasn't guessing. He wasn't hoping. He knew. Thomas's continuous glucose monitor, the device that's supposed to track his blood sugar 24/7, was dead as a doornail. It hadn't alerted him. It hadn't done anything. But Sterling had. The dog's nose, trained to pick up even the faintest chemical changes in Thomas's scent, had sensed danger before any machine could. And acted. Let's pause, because this could have ended so differently. Let me ask you something. Would your dog wake you up in time? Would your monitor be enough? Now imagine that moment. You're groggy, confused. Your medical device has failed. And suddenly, your dog hands you the one thing that could save your life. That's not instinct. That's education, loyalty, and love, all working together when it mattered most. Thomas later said, "I was astounded. I thought, what's going on here?" Because even though Sterling is trained to assist, he had never done all that without a cue. This time, there was no beep, no voice, just the unshakable urgency in his heart. And he didn't hesitate. How do diabetic alert dogs really work? Here's the science behind the miracle. Dogs like Sterling are trained to recognize isoprene, a chemical that rises in the human body during blood sugar changes. It's odorless to us, but not to them. Their noses are so powerful, so attuned, they can sense a hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic episode minutes, or even hours, before symptoms appear. Many studies confirm that trained dads can detect fluctuations with over 90% accuracy. And unlike machines, they don't need charging. They don't glitch. And they don't shut down at 2 a.m. Machines can fail, dogs don't. After that night, Thomas went back to checking his blood sugar manually, every 2 hours, until a replacement monitor arrived the next day. But what if Sterling hadn't been there? The truth is, this story could have ended in an emergency room, or worse, for anyone living with chronic illness. This is hope. If you're living with diabetes, or know someone who is, this story isn't just touching. It's powerful. It reminds us that true care isn't just about devices and medications, it's about connection, instinct, and trust. Thomas didn't just get a dog, he got a partner, one who refuses to clock out, one whose heartbeat is synced with his own. Sterling may never win medals or make headlines, but in the middle of a quiet campground, he did something no machine could. He listened. Closing technology is incredible, but sometimes it's the unplugged, the furry, and the faithful that make all the difference. Sterling didn't wait for a signal. He followed his heart and his nose.